Have you ever looked at someone and thought you knew their whole story, only to discover you were completely wrong? One rainy afternoon, a wealthy businessman noticed something that everyone else ignored. His housekeeper was sitting alone outside in the pouring rain, quietly eating a cold sandwich instead of using the warm staff dining room. What he discovered that day changed both of their lives forever. Before we begin, if stories about kindness and second chances touch your heart, please like this video, subscribe to Kindness Library, and leave a comment telling us where you're watching from. Your support helps us share more stories that remind the world kindness still matters. Jonathan Brooks had everything money could buy. He owned a successful technology company, lived in a beautiful home outside Chicago, and was respected by everyone in business. Yet after losing his wife to cancer 3 years earlier, his large house felt empty. Work had become his way of escaping the loneliness. For nearly 2 years, Maria had worked in Jonathan's home. She arrived before sunrise every morning and quietly finished her work before most people even noticed she was there. She was always polite, always smiling, and never complained. One Friday afternoon, heavy rain covered the city. Jonathan looked through his office window and noticed Maria sitting on a small bench near the garden. She was soaked by the rain, carefully protecting a small lunchbox while eating slowly. He frowned. The staff kitchen was warm. Why would anyone choose to sit outside in the rain? Jonathan walked outside holding an umbrella. "Maria," he asked gently, "why are you sitting here? You can eat inside." Maria quickly stood up, embarrassed. "I'm sorry, sir. I didn't want to cause any trouble." "You wouldn't be causing trouble," Jonathan replied. "Please come inside." Maria looked down. I can't." Jonathan was confused. "Why not?" After a long silence, Maria whispered, "Because every Friday, I save my lunch break for someone else." She pointed toward the street across from the house. An elderly homeless man sat under a broken bus stop with no shelter from the rain. "I split my lunch with him every Friday," Maria said softly. "If I eat inside, he stays hungry." Jonathan looked across the street in silence. He had driven past that bus stop hundreds of times. He had never noticed the old man. Maria smiled. "My mother always said that if your meal can feed 2 people, then it was never meant for one." Jonathan couldn't stop thinking about those words. The next morning, he drove back to the bus stop before work. The old man was still there. His name was Samuel. He had once worked as a school janitor for over 30 years. After his wife passed away, medical bills and rising rent slowly took everything he owned. He had no children and nowhere left to go. Jonathan sat beside him for almost an hour, listening instead of talking. For the first time in years, Jonathan realized how easy it was to become invisible. Back at home, he asked Maria why she had never mentioned Samuel. She smiled. "I didn't help him so people would notice me." That answer stayed with Jonathan all week. A few days later, he quietly rented a small apartment near the neighborhood and paid the first year's rent. He also helped Samuel reconnect with a local church that offered support and introduced him to a nearby school looking for a part-time maintenance worker. Within weeks, Samuel had a safe place to sleep and a reason to smile again. But Jonathan wasn't finished. He asked Maria to join him in his office. "I've been thinking," he said. "You reminded me what kindness really looks like." Maria looked nervous. "I hope I didn't do anything wrong." "You did everything right." Jonathan handed her a folder. Inside was information about a scholarship fund in her name. Jonathan had learned that Maria worked 2 jobs because she was paying college tuition for her younger sister, Sophia, who dreamed of becoming a nurse. From that day forward, the scholarship covered every remaining dollar of Sophia's education. Maria couldn't speak. Tears filled her eyes. "No one has ever done something like this for my family." Jonathan smiled. "You've been changing lives with half a sandwich. I think it's time someone helped change yours." Months passed. Sophia graduated from nursing school with honors. Samuel proudly attended the ceremony wearing his best suit. Jonathan sat beside Maria, clapping louder than anyone else. As they celebrated together, Maria quietly said, "I thought I was helping one person every Friday." Jonathan smiled. "You were helping far more than one. You reminded all of us that kindness spreads farther than we can ever see." Years later, Jonathan started a community program that provided meals, temporary housing, and job support for families facing hard times. He named it after his late wife, believing she would have loved what kindness had become. Maria continued working with the program as a volunteer, encouraging others to never overlook someone simply because they appeared poor or forgotten. People often asked Jonathan what inspired him to begin the charity. He always gave the same answer. "A woman sharing half of her lunch in the rain taught me that generosity isn't measured by how much you have. It's measured by how much love you're willing to give." Sometimes the biggest miracles don't begin with millions of dollars. Sometimes they begin with one simple act that almost nobody notices. The next time you see someone standing alone, remember that a small gesture, a warm meal, a kind word, or even a few minutes of your time could completely change someone's life. Because kindness has a way of reaching hearts we may never meet. And when one person chooses compassion, that kindness keeps growing, touching family after family, generation after generation. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to Kindness Library, and share it with someone who still believes that even the smallest act of kindness can change the world.